Gateway to Part 2. Between the Temples. Between the first temple's ashes, 586 BCE, and the second temple's stones, 515 BCE. Prophecy transformed. The exile birthed apocalyptic vision, Daniel's cryptic weeks, Zechariah's night visions, Ezekiel's cosmic temple plans. No longer did prophets merely warn of destruction. They calculated restoration, mapped the end times, and glimpsed the heavenly sanctuary beyond earthly ruins. This intertestamental period forged Judaism's enduring tension, memory of what was lost, hope for what will be, and the present struggle to maintain covenant without the sacrificial center. The Second Temple, when it rose, stood under shadow, smaller, contested, yet pregnant with messianic expectation. The prophecies examined here, Haggai's glory promises, Malachi's messenger, the Psalms of Solomon's suffering Messiah, prepared the ground for catastrophe's recurrence. They teach that rebuilding is possible but never identical, that return brings joy mixed with weeping, that the divine presence, once withdrawn, returns transformed. This section explores how Jewish prophecy adapted to temple restoration, how it anticipated the second destruction, and how it created the theological vocabulary for surviving perpetual exile. The bridge between temples is the bridge between conditional warning and apocalyptic certainty, between prophetic improvisation and eschatological precision, between the grief of lamentations and the glory of redemption yet to come. The prophecy of Haggai and Zechariah. The return from Babylonian exile, 538 BCE, and the rebuilding of the Second Temple, completed 515 BCE, generated new prophetic literature addressing the temple's significance. Haggai's prophecies, 520 BCE, confront the community's failure to prioritize the temple. Is it a time for you yourselves to be living in your paneled houses while this house remains a ruin? Haggai 1:4. The prophet warns that agricultural failure results from this neglect. You have planted much, but harvested little. You expected much, but see, it turned out to be little. What you brought home, I blew away. 1:6-9. The Hebrew Bati, my house, emphasizes divine ownership. Haggai promises that the new temple's glory will exceed Solomon's. The glory of this present house will be greater than the glory of the former house, and in this place I will grant peace. 2:9. Zechariah complements this with visions of the high priest Joshua and governor Zerubbabel as the two anointed ones, Shnei Banei Hayitzhar, standing before the Lord. Zechariah 4:14. The prophet's night visions include the menorah and olive trees symbolizing the temple's enduring light. Yet, Zechariah also contains warnings. I will not be merciful to those who turn from me, 11:6, and the enigmatic prophecy of the shepherd struck and the sheep scattered, 11:4. 1:7, later interpreted in connection with the Second Temple's destruction. The apocalyptic turn, Daniel's 70 weeks, the Book of Daniel, composed during the Maccabean crisis, c. 165 BCE, but set in the Babylonian exile, contains the most mathematically precise prophecy of temple destruction. Daniel 9:2-4. 2:7 presents the 70 weeks, Shivim Shavuim prophecy. The Hebrew text states, 70 weeks are decreed upon your people and upon your holy city, to finish the transgression, and to make an end of sin, and to bring in everlasting righteousness, and to seal vision and prophet, and to anoint the most holy place. 9:24. The prophecy divides these 70 weeks into 7 weeks, 62 weeks. and 1 week, the critical passage for temple destruction. And after the 62 weeks shall an anointed one be cut off, and be no more. And the people of a leader who shall come shall destroy the city and the sanctuary, and its end shall be with a flood. And unto the end of the war, desolations are determined. 926, JPS 1917. The Hebrew karat, cut off, describes the anointed one's fate, while yashit, destroy, and kodesh, sanctuary, specify the temple's destruction. Jewish interpretation identifies the anointed one as King Agrippa II, or the priesthood, and the people of the leader as the Roman legions under Vespasian and Titus. The calculation from Artaxerxes' decree, 458 or 445 BCE to 70 CE approximates the prophetic time frame, though Jewish scholars debate the exact chronology. The Book of Daniel and the Abomination of Desolation, Daniel's prophecies in chapters 8, 9, 1:1, 1:2 employ the term shikuts miomem, abomination of desolation, to describe the temple's profanation. Daniel 8:13 asks, "How long shall be the vision concerning the continual burnt offering and the transgression that causes desolation? To give both the sanctuary and the host to be trodden underfoot." The Hebrew Timaid continual offering refers to the daily sacrifice, whose cessation marks the temple's functional destruction. Daniel 11:31 predicts, "And forces shall stand on his part, and they shall profane the sanctuary, even the fortress, and shall take away the continual burnt offering, and they shall set up the detestable thing that causes appallment." This prophecy originally referred to Antiochus IV Epiphanes' desecration, 167 BCE, but its pattern, foreign armies, cessation of sacrifice, profanation, applies equally to the Roman destruction. Daniel 12:11 specifies, "And from the time that the continual burnt offering shall be taken away, and the detestable thing that causes appallment set up, there shall be 1,290 days." This precision reflects apocalyptic literature's concern with calculating the end times. The shikuts miomem becomes the technical term for catastrophic temple profanation, appearing in Jesus' Olivet Discourse, and later, Jewish Apocalyptic. The Wisdom of Ben Sira, Ecclesiasticus. The Wisdom of Ben Sira, c. 180 BCE, though excluded from the Hebrew Bible but preserved in Greek as Sirach, provides crucial insight into Second Temple theology. Chapter 24 personifies wisdom seeking a dwelling place. "Then the Creator of all things gave me a command, and my Creator chose the place for my tent. He said, 'Make your dwelling in Jacob, and in Israel receive your inheritance. Before the ages, in the beginning, He created me, and for all the ages I shall not cease to be. In the holy tent I ministered before Him.'" Sirach 24, 8:10. The temple is wisdom's earthly residence. Chapter 50's magnificent description of the high priest Simon, son of Onias, ministering in the temple, represents the Second Temple at its glory. How glorious he was, surrounded by the people, as he came out of the house of the curtain, like the morning star among the clouds, like the moon when it is full, like the sun shining upon the temple of the Most High. 50:5-7, Ben Sira's grandson's prologue, translated into Greek in Egypt, c. 132 BCE, reveals that the original Hebrew text was already being studied with care, suggesting the temple's centrality to diaspora Judaism. The book's survival only in Greek and Syriac. The Hebrew fragments from Qumran and Masada were discovered in the 20th century. ironically parallels the temple's destruction and textual preservation in exile. Maccabees and temple rededication. 1 Maccabees, c. 100 BCE, preserved in Greek but composed in Hebrew, recounts the temple's desecration and rededication. Chapter 1 describes Antiochus's persecution. He arrogantly entered the sanctuary and took the golden altar, the lampstand for the light, and the offering of incense. He also took the hidden treasures and stripped off everything. He took the silver and gold and the precious vessels. He also took the hidden treasures. On the 15th day of Kislev, in the 145th year, they erected a desolating sacrilege upon the altar of burnt offering. 1 Maccabees 1, 2:1, 2:2, 54. The Hebrew original likely used shikutz miomim here. The rededication narrative in chapter 4 establishes Hanukkah. They saw the sanctuary desolate, the altar profaned, and the gates burned. They tore their clothes and went up to Mount Zion. They saw the sanctuary desolate, the altar profaned, and the gates burned. They tore their clothes and went up to Mount Zion. Then Judas and his brothers said, "Behold, our enemies are crushed. Let us go up to cleanse the sanctuary and dedicate it." 4:3-6, 4:2. The 8-day celebration, 456, becomes the paradigm for temple restoration. This narrative shapes Jewish consciousness. Destruction is temporary, rededication possible, divine faithfulness enduring. The Psalms of Solomon and Roman destruction. The Psalms of Solomon, c. 50 BCE, 18 psalms preserved in Greek and Syriac, reflect the trauma of Pompey's conquest of Jerusalem, 63 BCE, and anticipate further catastrophe. Psalm 2 describes Jerusalem's sinners. The sons of Jerusalem defiled the holy things of the Lord. They profaned the offerings to God with lawless acts. He brought the kings of the earth to reproach them. The king of the earth to reproach them. The king of the earth to reproach them. He took away the inheritance from them and dispersed them among all the nations. 2:1-2:19-20. Psalm 8 addresses Pompey's death. When he went up to Jerusalem, he was puffed up in his heart, destroying the fortifications of the gates, and he laid his hands on the dwelling of the sons of the height. But God made him great to his own destruction. 8:16-17. These psalms develop the theology that foreign conquest is divine punishment for Jewish sin, yet also promise ultimate vindication. See, Lord, and raise up for them their king, the son of David, at the time which you choose, O God. 17:21. This messianic expectation shapes the response to the 70 CE destruction. The Psalms of Solomon demonstrate that before the Second Temple's destruction, Jewish literature already interpreted military catastrophe through the lens of covenantal disobedience and divine chastisement. The Dead Sea Scrolls and Temple ideology. The Qumran community, c. 150 BC, 68 CE, developed a complex theology regarding the temple. The Damascus document, CD, describes the community's withdrawal. They sought smooth things and chose delusions. They built a wall of lies and deceptive plaster to keep Israel from knowing the commandments. CD 1:14-18. The community rule, 1QS, envisions the community itself as a spiritual temple. They shall be a community of truth, of virtuous humility, of benevolent love, of legitimate intent, of holy counsel. They shall be an acceptable sacrifice, atoning for the land. 1QS 9:4-5. The War Scroll 1QM anticipates eschatological temple restoration. The king of the Kittim will enter Egypt. In his time he will go out with great wrath to wage war against the kings of the north. He will return to Egypt, and at that time he will go up from the land of Egypt. 1 QM 117. The Temple Scroll, 11 QT, presents an idealized temple plan, suggesting dissatisfaction with current arrangements. The Florilegium, 4Q174, interprets 2 Samuel 7 messianically. The Lord declares to you that he will build you a house. I will raise up your seed after you and establish the throne of his kingdom forever. These texts reveal that on the eve of destruction, Jewish groups were already debating temple legitimacy and anticipating eschatological transformation. Philo of Alexandria's spiritualization. Philo Judaeus, c. 20 BCE. 50 CE. The Hellenistic Jewish philosopher developed sophisticated allegorical interpretations of the temple that would influence later Jewish and Christian thought. In De Specialibus Legibus, Philo writes, "The highest, and in the truest sense, the holy temple of God is, as we must believe, the whole universe, having for its sanctuary the most sacred part of all existence, namely, the heaven." 166. Yet Philo does not negate the physical temple. There is also the temple made by hands, for the sake of those who are not yet perfect. 167. His legatio ad Gaium describes his embassy to Emperor Caligula to prevent the desecration of the temple. 3841 CE, demonstrating his commitment to its physical preservation. Philo's concept of the soul as temple. The soul of the wise man is the only true temple. De Somnis 149 provides a theological framework for surviving destruction. The Alexandrian Jewish community, already without regular temple access, developed this spiritualization before 70 CE. Philo's synthesis of Stoic, Platonic, and biblical thought creates a philosophical Judaism where the temple's destruction, while catastrophic, cannot destroy the true temple of the rational soul illuminated by divine logos. Josephus's historical testimony. Flavius Josephus, 37 cycle 100 CE. The Jewish historian writing in Greek for Roman audiences provides the most detailed eyewitness account of the Second Temple's destruction. His Jewish War, c. 75 CE, describes the final conflagration. While the holy house was on fire, everything was plundered. The soldiers also came and carried fire to the doors, and the streams of blood were quenched by the burning of the ruins. The most pathetic thing of all was that the temple burned on the 10th of Laus, the very day on which of old it had been burned by the king of Babylon, 6249-250. Josephus emphasizes the date coincidence as divine orchestration. His account of portents before the destruction includes a heifer giving birth to a lamb in the temple, a mysterious light around the altar, and the opening of the heavy east gate, 6288-299. Josephus interprets the destruction theologically. The deity had fled from the sanctuary and stood at a distance from it. 6.300, echoing Ezekiel's vision. His Jewish Antiquities, c. 93 CE includes the prophecy attributed to Jesus, Ben Ananias, c. 62 CE, who cried, "Woe, woe to Jerusalem," for 7 years until killed by a stone during the siege. 20167-168. Josephus's own ambiguous role, Jewish general turned Roman propagandist, shapes his narrative, yet his testimony remains indispensable. Jesus' prophecy of temple destruction. The Synoptic Gospels preserve Jesus' prophecies of the Second Temple's destruction, which early Christians interpreted as vindication of his prophetic authority. Mark 13:2, the little apocalypse records, "Do you see all these great buildings? Not one stone here will be left on another. Every one will be thrown down." Matthew 24:2 and Luke 21:6 repeat this. The Olivet Discourse expands this prediction with apocalyptic imagery drawn from Daniel. So, when you see standing in the holy place the abomination that causes desolation, spoken of through the prophet Daniel, let the reader understand. Then let those who are in Judea flee to the mountains. Matthew 24:1-6. The abomination of desolation, bloodligma tes eremosios, explicitly references Daniel. Luke's version, 21:20-4, historicizes the prophecy. When you see Jerusalem being surrounded by armies, you will know that its desolation is near. They will fall by the sword and will be taken as prisoners to all the nations. Jerusalem will be trampled on by the Gentiles until the times of the Gentiles are fulfilled. John's Gospel, 2:19-22, presents a different formulation. "Destroy this temple, and I will raise it again in 3 days," interpreted as referring to Jesus' body. These prophecies, whether authentic to the historical Jesus or developed by early Christian communities, demonstrate the Jewish apocalyptic expectation before 70 CE anticipated catastrophic temple destruction as prelude to eschatological renewal.